welcome back to the Drive Home Reviews podcast, where I review the movies I have just seen as I am driving home from the theater. And let me start by saying a happy whatever to you and yours. Whatever you're celebrating this time of year, I certainly hope that you are having a great time, however you celebrate, whatever you celebrate, with whomever you celebrate. That's to people who are having every family member that was even remotely related to you over at your house, or the folks who spend it like I do with my cat. I hope that however, whomever, whatever, I hope it's all good, and I hope that the holidays have been warm and enjoyable for you. I tell a lie, because I'm not celebrating it just with my cat. My parents are here. And, ever since I left home to go to grad school, the ability to get together with my parents for the holidays has always been one of my happier times of year. Yes, there are some stresses that go along with it, as I'm sure that's true for anybody, but I really love the holidays with my parents, and I'm very thankful for the holidays with my parents. But there was a stretch there where I celebrated with my parents and other people, we'll just say, and those times were much more stressful because there were more people that you had to balance. And there were some ugly times, I'm not gonna lie. So while the overall feeling of getting together with my family for the holidays is a joyous one and one that I look forward to, I do understand for people who do it every year and for whom their family is a lot larger, I have a frame of reference for how stressful it can be. That being said, I've always had a bit of a problem with these Christmas movies that the main theme is it sucks being with your parents, or it sucks being with your family. I mean, I get it. Family can be stressful. Nobody knows how to push your buttons quite like your family does. But at the same time, I don't know. I wouldn't want to celebrate it without my family. Even when I was with other people, I didn't want to spend it without my family. That felt wrong. But still, so I guess it's just one of those things that maybe every other people, and I know for a fact because other people that I was with at the time had a lot of problems with their family, and you were kind of drawn into that. So I get it. I've never really related to it very much, but I know that there are some people who have, and in that vein, we have this Amazon exclusive film that's one of those my family drives me crazy kind of things. So if you haven't heard of this movie, let me run it down for you. So Michelle Pfeiffer, yes, that's the thing with these Amazon films and these direct-to-streaming movies. It amazes me how they get like real stars in them. They get like real people. That's crazy to me. But anyway, so Michelle Pfeiffer plays a Texas mother. I stress that because she has just, as wonderful an actor as Michelle Pfeiffer is, her fucking Texas accent in this is irritating because it's not real. And when you know it's not real, it just sounds even more fake. Maybe just for me, but anyway. And she is your traditional make Christmas perfect for everybody mom, or your stereotypical, let's say. I think that's a better word than typical. She's your stereotypical, everything has to be perfect, everything has to be just so. And she goes to great lengths to make the holidays special for her children, who all come home every year for the holidays. This includes her son and her two daughters, the eldest of which is played by Felicity Jones of Rogue One fame, and the other by Chloe Grace Moretz. And the basic thing is everybody in the family takes for granted everything that has to go into making Christmas work. And Michelle Pfeiffer is bending over backwards to get all of this stuff done and to make it perfect and to make it beautiful, and she's just getting a wall of non-compliance and grumpiness and whining about having to do it. And the final straw that breaks the camel's back is she had arranged for all of her family to go to this Christmas dance concert that apparently her grandkids were really into, but it's like a stripper show, so I'm not sure. That's a tonal problem we're going to get into here in a second. And in a clever, I must say, in a clever kind of reverse Home Alone, everybody takes off for this concert in a rush, but they leave Michelle Pfeiffer behind. And this kind of causes a deep psychological break in Michelle Pfeiffer, who just gets in her car and takes off. And long story short, after a couple of little misadventures, she ends up out in California to be in her favorite show, to be on her favorite talk show, which was holding this the Greatest Christmas Mom contest that she desperately wanted her kids to enter her in, and of course nobody did. And it's this whole thing about appreciating your parents, appreciating your mother, appreciating the people that bend over backwards to make the holidays happen. Okay, that's not the worst idea for a holiday comedy I've ever heard. In fact, I do think it is a valid topic, because I know my mom worked really hard to make Christmas special when I was a kid, and I know some other people who did like Michelle Pfeiffer in this film and bent over backwards to give their children the best of everything, the best holidays, the best birthdays, the best summer vacations, and basically wouldn't get shit for it. So I can say that there are some people I can think of who could definitely use a lesson in appreciating their parent and all that their parent did for them. So I think there's material here. So why doesn't it work? Well, it doesn't work for a very simple reason. And I mentioned it already, but the big one is tone. This movie wants to walk a very fine line, and it can't do it. Now, the thing that I compare this to the most, and the thing that's really this movie is having a hard time overcoming, and I'm pretty sure they know about this. Family Guy already did this, like this exact thing twice. In their very first holiday special, they did it. They did a thing where Lois finally snapped and went batshit crazy because nobody else was helping her with Christmas.
You all think Christmas just happens. You think all this goodwill just falls from the freaking sky. Well, it doesn't. It falls out of my holly jolly butt. So you can cook your own damn turkey, wrap your own damn presents, and hey, while you're at it, you can all ride a one-horse open sleigh to hell.
And then a few years back, they did another one where Lois, once again upset because nobody was helping her with Christmas, leaves the family to fend for themselves, and they have to do it all on their own. So Family Guy has already done this twice. And here's why it works for Family Guy and it doesn't work here. Because if you're gonna do a comedy like this, you've got to pick a lane. And Family Guy, for whatever else you want to say about it, it has a lane. It knows what it is. It has a very clearly defined theme in that all of its characters are terrible, terrible people. That's the joke. And because they're cartoons and because they've committed to this, their characters can do things and get away with things and say things that are horrid, but we still laugh at it because they've committed fully to the bit. If you don't commit fully to the bit, then what happens is all of your characters come out just being terrible people. You know, take for example, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. That film commits to the bit. So that's a live action one that commits to the bit. That everything is kind of hyper reality. And because of that, we can take things like the way people take advantage of Clark, the way his in-laws talk to him, the way he talks to them, the fact that Clark himself is kind of a jackass. We can take that all and still love these characters because they've committed to it. They're not doing it halfway. You can still have your heartfelt moments. You can still have a real connection that people still laugh at and watch and love to this day. But imagine if they had tried to combine this and actually try to be a heartfelt family drama in the midst of this comedy. It wouldn't work. It's not that it doesn't have its serious or dramatic moments, but they're still tinted with the comedy and the over-the-topness of it all. So because of that, we can forgive kind of the bad people that all of these characters in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation are in one way or another. This film is trying to have it both ways. It's trying to be a heartfelt family comedy about, appreciating your parents and learning to stand on your own feet and working out family issues and becoming a better person with wacky, over-the-top hijinks, like a scene where Michelle Pfeiffer and Felicity Jones shoplift a giant candle and have a comedic chase scene with an army of mall security guards. This feels completely, tonally out of place. And what makes it worse? So that kind of thing, that makes it jarring, but what makes it hard to watch is that because that tone is not decided on, pretty much all of these characters come off as terrible people. Like, there's not a redeeming, especially the two daughters, especially Felicity Jones and Chloe Grace Moretz. They come off completely horrible and just total bitches with no redeeming qualities. And the film wants them to have redeeming qualities. The film is trying to play them as three-dimensional characters, but because of this over-the-top nature that it's also trying to capture, it all just rings very false. And they come out just being horrid. And nobody wants to watch that. Nobody wants to watch these people, these terrible people. It makes the scenes uncomfortable. And it makes things like their reconciliation at the end feel tacked on, even though they try. I should mention that. Let's go ahead and mention that since I'm here. It is not to say that the film is completely without merit or completely without good moments. There is some redeeming factors in this. There are some genuinely funny moments. There's a funny bit where Denis Leary is trying to assemble this giant dollhouse. Like, it's supposed to be a Barbie dream house, but they don't call it that, obviously. for his grandchildren, and it's just too much, so he calls over two buddies of his, and they've all got their tool belts on, and they're, figuring out. That's a funny scene. There's a funny scene where the son has been dumped by his girlfriend, like literally the day he's about to leave, so he's dealing with that. And Michelle Pfeiffer says, "Oh, sing us a song while I'm getting ready." So he gets his guitar and he's playing the 12 Days of Christmas, but it's like all depressed and all like melancholy. That was kind of funny. But I only say kind of funny because, again, they didn't commit to going one way or the other. Again, Michelle Pfeiffer is a brilliant actor, and she gives this really great monologue at the end of the movie when she's on the television show about, she wishes that she could go back in time, and when her mom was trying to do the holidays, that she wouldn't have rolled her eyes and, thought her mom was stupid, and actually just have helped, because now she would have given anything to be able to see her mom for the holidays. And that's all really touching. It's really well done. And I also like that they do the traditional, since it's on a talk show, they do the thing, and here's your family, we flew them out to surprise you, and on camera, all like, yay, and then the camera goes off, and Michelle Pfeiffer says, yeah, thanks for coming, I'm still pissed off, I'm still leaving, and she actually has to work things out with her eldest daughter, but still, the resolution feels, one, unearned, and it feels hollow, because this person, again, who has been portrayed as a simply horrid and selfish person, even when they're asking for something reasonable, like wanting to spend Christmas with her husband and her kids so that she can establish her own traditions, still comes off blaming Michelle Pfeiffer for everything. You don't see me, you don't listen to me, all this. And Michelle Pfeiffer goes, oh, you're right, it was all my fault. It's like, wait, what? So it doesn't fit. It doesn't match. And yeah, the whole thing just comes across as maddening. And again, it goes back to tone. You have to pick a lane. If you're going to go the National Lampoon route, then all of these characters have to be bigger. The reactions have to be bigger. The goofiness has to be turned up. If you want the whole movie to be like the chase scene in the mall, then the whole movie has to be like that. Again, not to say that you can't have your heartfelt moments in there. You can, but they have to be done in the right tone. If you want to go full family drama, then these characters really do have to be three-dimensional. And the movie is trying to do that, but because it's in conflict with the rest of the tone, none of it comes across as particularly good. Chloe Grace Moretz is just this serial dater who just kind of like, she's the Ted Mosby of the family, who brings a new girl home every holiday, and they all have to pretend to be, surprised and like excited about it. And, she's also a complete bitch to Jason Schwartzman, who plays Felicity Jones's husband, because he's boring. That's her reason. So that's your reason for being a complete and total bitch to him? Like, seriously? And, I got to comment on this too. So I think I've covered the main deal. Let's talk about the details. Because there are details in this that really drive me crazy. So one of the things I have to say to Jason Schwartzman is, who picked out your Dumb and Dumber style haircut for this fucking movie? Because it is ridiculous. He's got this, the only way I can describe it is he's got the Hitler. He's got like one side of his head, the bangs are really long, that they come down to like just over his eye or just past his eye, but the other side doesn't. The fuck is that? What the fuck is that look? Maybe they were trying to make him look like a dork, or but they made him look like, again, he belonged in a completely different movie. Either he was supposed to be in a very Dumb and Dumber Christmas, or it's one of those Henry Cavill mustache things where, you know, maybe he's doing a biopic of Hitler somewhere and they wouldn't let him cut the hair. You know, I don't know, but it looks asinine, and it was driving me fucking crazy. Because if you have a character in a movie who's supposed to be a good-natured goof, of course this person looks like an idiot and doesn't realize they look like an idiot. You know, again, tonal problem. Where are you going with this character? Is he an actual idiot, or is he a good guy? You know, and yes, you can do both, but again, I've made this point. Here's another one. This is another detail that bugged me. So, the beginning narration. First of all, this movie is very proud of the fact, maybe because it's owned by Amazon, that it was able to get the rights to use clips and images from like every other Christmas movie ever, because it does. It packs them in there. You see clips from everything in this. But the very beginning is this narration by Michelle Pfeiffer talking about that how moms are the unsung heroes of Christmas. They're underappreciated. Nobody cares. And all of the great Christmas movies are about fathers. Okay, you know, I'm not disputing the point, because she is right. A lot of Christmas movies have a decidedly male focus. So I'm not disputing her point. But some of the examples she pulls out, which of course she starts with National Lampoon Christmas Vacation. You're like, okay, yeah, that's definitely about the father. And then she goes, Home Alone. Wasn't Home Alone about the mother trying to get home to rescue her son and moving heaven and earth, taking rides from strangers, doing everything physically possible to get back to her child? She doesn't name check it, but they pull out a box for the 90s remake of Miracle on 34th Street. But again, isn't that one of the plots in that about a single mother trying to do right by her child? I seem to recall that being a fairly huge plot point. I'm not arguing the point that she's making. The point she's making is correct. Movies in general, and holiday movies, do seem to be very front-loaded with male protagonists. So I'm not debating that. But I am saying that if you're going to make that point, maybe think about the films that you're name-checking. Because, yeah, those two, they don't fit. And that's kind of, I think that is indicative of the issues with this movie. It knows what it wants to be on the face, but it's not sure how to actually be it in practice. That's its big problem. And it's right there in the very first moment. So yeah, I can go round and round and round, but I've already made my point multiple times, so I don't think there's going to be much point in dragging this out any further. There's no point in beating a dead reindeer. So let's wrap this up. So what is my final grade for Oh, What Fun? I'm going to give it a C-. A C-. It is very close to failure. The only reasons I don't is because there are some genuinely good moments and some genuinely funny moments in this that I appreciate. I appreciate what they were trying to do, and Michelle Pfeiffer is always good. So, for that, it gets a C-. But it fails in literally everything else. This is supposed to be a heartwarming comedy, and you feel good and all that. And this film it made me feel sick. It made me angry at everybody. And Like, I don't think that's the emotions they were going for. As always, I encourage you, go watch for yourself. Maybe this will become a regular in your holiday rotation. But for me, I don't think I ever really want to look at it again or think about it again. If I want to see something like this, I'll go watch Family Guy, which I do. So there you have it. All right, so, wow, slim pickings for the holiday movies this year. Just shows how hard it is to make a good one. But, however the holiday films turn out, once again, I hope that you and yours are having the most beautiful holiday season. And I hope that the new year brings you lots of love and lots of joy. We'll be back. Drive Home Reviews will return in the new year. We will return with what I call batting cleanup, wherein there's a lot of movies that come out during the holidays that I don't get a chance to see. So I spend like the first month of the year catching up and watching the films that I didn't get a chance to view or review at the time. And then we will eventually get into the movies coming out, in 2026. So this will also include the return of the annual 10 best, worst, and meh films of the year. And I am very much looking forward to those. So we will return in the new year. We'll have some in the bank episodes for a while, so you'll still hear from us, but they won't be, for any new movies coming out. But we will return. And lastly, I've been dragging this out, sorry, but I think this is kind of the last big review I'm going to do for the year. So lastly, I want to say, once again, thank you to everyone who has tuned in and has listened. It has meant a lot to me. I've mentioned this multiple times on here, but I don't have the biggest audience, and I'm fine with that. I'm not a professional. I don't have professional equipment. I don't have sponsors. This is something I do for fun. And I don't have many listeners, but I've had quite a few this year for me. It really makes me happy when I go to upload the new episode to the podcast platforms and I see how many people have listened. Or when I go to upload them to YouTube and I see how many folks have checked them out there. It means a lot. I know I don't have a big audience. I'm not a huge presence, and that's fine. You don't have to be. I'd rather be 5 people's favorite thing than 100 people's 5th favorite thing. So to the folks who have listened and have enjoyed what I've done and do enjoy this show, thank you. Thank you so very much for it. And we will be back. I'm looking forward to carrying on in the new year. And to everybody, happy holidays. And as always, drive safe. And I will see you at the movies.